So FME, can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me turn on this too, or share sound. Okay, so I'm going to walk you guys through what FME is. And so it's primarily, FME is very important to the energy companies the most. But right now, we're even in the United States having a lot of manufacturing businesses, even the food service industry, starting to add FME products because, like, for example, this slide that I'm showing you, we will get into it. There's a very large food manufacturer in Pennsylvania that they had 3 recalls last year, and each recall cost them $1 million. And if they would have used some FME products, they could have stopped every single one of those recalls. And so FME is the whole idea of FME is we are trying to keep foreign material out of systems. So we're trying to keep stuff clean, no oil, no missing parts. Even for power companies, they could have insects or bugs. Even your PPE, like your glasses, your gloves, your ears, all this stuff, if it gets into a system, can cause damage or cause problems. And so FME is the E is exclusion. So foreign material exclusion. So the goal is to create a system that stops foreign material from getting into what you're working on. So why is this important? It's important because stuff can damage your equipment. If it damages your equipment, then they can't produce power. If they can't produce power, they lose money. If they lose money, that means there's less jobs. Less jobs means less work. So for a lot of companies, FME is really interesting in the fact that I believe with my whole heart, FME is exactly where safety was 30 years ago. 30 years ago, companies did not have a full-time safety person. They started to form safety committees. And then those safety committees created the safety professional. FME is in the exact same boat. Companies are just now starting to realize we should create FME committees. And then if we create an FME committee, then we should maybe create the FME professional. Does that make sense, guys? Yay, nay?
Good. Yeah.
Okay. So foreign material is in a lot of things other than just, energy. So in the United States, like in the food service industry, they allow, because the industry has been around for a long time, they don't have as strict controls. So they allow so much bugs to get in their food where if they had FME protocols in place, they could eliminate all of it. And even doctors, every week in the United States, 39 times a week, a doctor accidentally leaves something inside a person. And that's foreign material inside a person. So if having not just the products, but also the procedures in place where you eliminate the foreign material is important for so many different industries. So here's a funny commercial. I don't know if you guys.
And we're gonna get his phone, out of you as soon as.
I have to take this. What? Just a little pinch. Sweetheart,
Hi,
I left my phone in.
Totally out of way.
I'm having phone issues. Bye.
Am I on speaker?
We're gonna fix this, needless to say.
Okay, resuming play.
So just,
Snickers satisfied.
It's a funny commercial. So in the aviation world or for the military, they call FME FOD, foreign object debris. So the same products that energy companies use, the aviation companies are also very interested in. Everything from tethering your tools, because if you accidentally leave your wrench, your screwdriver, when you're working on an engine, you could cause a lot of deaths. And so it's really important that they have the procedures in place that they make sure they don't leave anything behind. And then what's also interesting in the United States, aviation companies are required to have annual FME training or FOD training. And so for energy companies in the United States, they require an annual training class. And so that's something we can sell too is, and then if you guys were in, maybe we could work together. If you were able to sell the training class they want the companies to take every single year. We could maybe work together to make it, if we don't have it already in your language, we could partner together. So some examples of, so the best way to learn about foreign material are through other people's mistakes. So there are, in the United States, there are groups that get together 2 times a year, and there's an international group that gets together once a year somewhere in Europe, or I think they've even had meetings in Asia. It's an FME meeting where large energy companies get together and they talk about issues that have come up, where stuff that they've discovered, where if they share this, hey, this caused us a problem, so don't make the same mistake we do. And so some of these stories that have come up, clear plastic is a big no-no. Everything from your shrink wrap to little plastic bags, anything that's clear plastic becomes really hard to see. And even in packaging, it can, and if a clear plastic ever gets into a liquid, it becomes impossible to see. And so these are stories that we want to share, just, and we have a whole line of tinted plastics and tinted stuff. That way people can see that it is, there's a bag in the system. Another example was this camera right here in the middle at a nuclear power plant in the United States. What had happened was it was in a radioactive area. So only one worker was in there, and he had to do his work and then get out. After he was done working, they wanted him to take pictures of the work. And when he had to climb up on a ladder, when he got to the top of the ladder, he took a picture of the work he had done. When he was done, he had to climb down the ladder. The camera was on his wrist, and he was climbing down the ladder, and the camera was hitting the side of the ladder. And the little $1 battery fell out of the camera, and it went into an open system. So open systems are something we want to eliminate. But that $1 battery went into an open system, and then that power plant could not make electricity for 14 days. And so every day they did not make electricity, they lost $2.5 million a day. And so it ended up being a $50 million mistake because of a $1 battery. And then this right here, this lead blanket. Do you guys have any nuclear plants in your area?
Yeah, we don't have. We are supposed to have that in the 80s, but the government, when they toppled down the Marcos administration, they stopped the project. Yeah.
Okay. Well, tool accountability. So there's another. The next slide is a 4-minute video that I'm going to skip, but it's a video from Canada that what had happened. And part of an FME program is you keep track of your tools, and it's tool accountability. And what had happened was they accidentally left one lead blanket in the reactor in Canada when they started the nuclear reactor back up, and it caused the plant to melt down. And it cost Canada over $1 trillion because of a simple logging issue. It bankrupted an entire town. If anybody wants to watch this video, I can send it to you. It's about a 5-minute video. It's kind of emotional. It talks about these people losing their homes, losing their jobs, all because they didn't follow FME practices.
Yes. Okay. So we are interested, please. Can you share that video to us?
I'd be happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, FME boils down to prevention. We want to prevent stuff from getting into open systems. We want to use caps, covers, plugs, tarps, anything we can to prevent, if you're opening up a system, making sure things can't get into it. But we also got to be conscious of when we're about to create foreign material. So say I have to do some cutting or grinding, I am got to be aware that there's going to be metal shavings. I need to pay attention to what I'm going to do before I do it, so I can know how to plan ahead for stuff that's going to happen. And then, cleaning as you go and making sure your work is clean is a very important process of it. And then also a big part of it is everybody makes mistakes. And so if something happens, if you drop your tool, if it goes into a system, it's really important in a FME program that you make sure that you tell your boss immediately, and that you're not going to get in trouble, because everybody makes mistakes, but we don't want to return the system back to operation until we clean out that system. So these are basically, I'm trying to get you guys to a point where when you guys go to these companies, you can say, hey, look, I want you guys to try to create an FME program. So this is what I'm showing you guys. I want you guys to go to your companies and talk about creating these FME programs. And then the products come with the programs, but the program is the most important thing. But also people need to plan ahead. If an accident happens, what are you going to do? So you also have to plan for, if the fly gets in your soup, how are you going to get that fly out? So we have a whole line of like borescoping equipment where we have different cameras that can snake down. We can look and inspect lines. We can also have retrieval devices where we have these long things like really tiny that you can push down and you can grab a little nut or bolt deep into a system. So you need to plan for retrieval if you do lose system integrity. And that's important for all your energy producing companies. So basically, why should a company create a formal program? It's about safety. It's about the safety of their not just a worker, but the safety of the company. It's about your company making money and making sure that your company doesn't lose plant equipment, doesn't lose market share. And it's about improving your processes. You know, you can, if you plan every step of the way, you can manage your time better. And so your guys can become more efficient. And then also it's protecting your company. And so this is why companies, these energy companies, should consider creating formal FME programs. So basically, in a nutshell, this is an overview. So I'm giving you guys, I'm not really diving that deep. I'm just giving you guys an overview of what an FME program of. An FME program has 6 steps. The first step is you create a culture of awareness. So we want these customers to have signs up. We have posters. We want them to create that awareness culture where maybe have an annual training class and you create that culture that, hey, our company values this. So you create that culture. The second step is you want to implement FME products. So something that potentially I could do is, if you guys ever needed to, I have a lot of experience going to natural gas, coal, nuclear power plants and doing site walkdowns where I will walk down the plant and I will show them areas of FME concern. This is something that if we were able to line up a bunch of customers, I could fly out to visit you guys and we could do together, we could do site walkdowns where we could say, hey, this is areas of FME concern. And then once you identify these areas of FME concern, we have products in place that you should implement immediately. And so those are the first things, is you want to do a site assessment and then implement FME products. The next step is you want to create a tool accountability program and a drop prevention program. And drop prevention is not just the tools that you're using, but anything that could drop. I mean, if you're working on a windmill, there is stuff that could fall from overhead. So it's drop prevention, also might get into safety and safety prevention, but that's part of number 3. Number 4 is every single procedure needs to be written out, and FME processes need to be written into every procedure. That way, if, you know, as people retire and young people come in, every job is listed out step by step. And so they know how to do the work and they know what tools they're going to need. They need to know what FME products they're going to be using before they even use them. And then step 5, you have to have a plan. And the plan is, FME doesn't start just with you. You got to make sure your suppliers, when they send you stuff, if it's going to go into a critical area, you can't have clear plastics. You need to plan ahead with all your, from start to finish, every step of the way. And that's where you could come in as with an energy company, and you guys can not just be salespeople, you guys can be consultants where you're going to help them run their business better. And that's why you're not trying to sell to them. You're trying to make them more productive, make them so they have less outages, so they have a better business. And then the last step is you want to review your program every year. You want to benchmark your program. We have people that we can fly out, and, you know, we have companies that do cross benchmarking, where we might have one energy company, their FME guy might go visit another company's FME guy, and they might swap places for a week. And it's a healthy thing where competitors help competitors, so everybody improves the whole system. So that's the benchmarking program. So, talking about assessing yourself, looking at your PPE, looking at loose parts, and then even like you want to look at even the stuff you're already using. Is there a better version of the tool you're using? For example, is there, stuff with, if you have to use something with a mirror, is there stuff that the glass can't break? Is there stuff with pins where the pin might float on top of water or it can't come apart? Or, there's always there to look at the tools they're currently using and seeing if there's a better tool for them to use. So the simple things that a company can do. So if you were going out to pitch FME, some of the things, these are simple solutions you can say to companies. Hey, people should leave their personal stuff in their cars. They should be wearing the proper PPE. Plants should have procedures easily to see. So if they're doing a work order, so whatever the work they're about to be done, there should be a work order with every task listed out. I mean, these are basic things that you can help them and say, hey, this is why you should create that committee. So the basic things that you want to try to do is you want your customers to create an FME committee. Eventually, they'll probably create a full-time FME person. But when you're talking to these energy companies, you should say, hey, look, it's really important you guys start to create a committee, a whole team of people to look at FME products. So this was from the food company, and this shows an open system. Does this open system need to have FME concerns? What do you guys think? Does this open system need to have an FME device to stop stuff from getting in there? Yes, no?
I think yes.
Yes, yes.
Because,
Okay, the answer is no. The reason it's no is because somebody is there supervising it. But if that person were to walk away from that open system, if they were to walk away, who's to say that something didn't fall into that system when nobody was looking? And so that's what they have, a door there where they could close it if they walk away, which is important. But this is just an example of an open system. Here's examples of open systems that they are not monitoring. So you can see all of this. These are all critical pieces that they should put little covers, plugs, caps over the end of this to prevent foreign material from getting into this open system when it's not being supervised. This is where a lot of areas where you can say, hey, look, this is open systems. We need to protect these systems. So this is an area of FME concern. Housekeeping is a big area of FME concern, and something that we can do to prevent housekeeping of metal shavings moving around and getting from one area of the plant to another is sticky mats. And we have some very, very aggressive sticky mats where when you put them between doorways, ingresses and egresses, where somebody walks through a doorway, anything on their feet is going to be trapped. And so you can keep stuff clean. So this was, again, these are pictures from a food plant, but these are clear plastics where the plastic is ripped. And where did that ripped plastic go? We don't know if it went into the food. It could have gone into a system. So this is where clear plastics are a big problem. Tool accountability. You can see that if this person would have lost one of their tools, they would never have known it because things are not organized. It's not clean. And there's not a good system in place to keep track of their tools. So this is a big problem. So for this one company here, when we did a site walk down, which we can do site walk downs at your energy companies, I can come back with a whole list of products and solutions that they could implement. And this comes to everything from boroscoping their lines, looking for metal fatigue, sticky mats. Something really important are covers and sponges. The energy companies love the sponges because sponges are very inexpensive and they can make any diameter. So if you're working on a pipe, you can put a sponge into that pipe, and if you're cutting or grinding, no little metal shavings can go deep into that pipe because the sponge is going to stop anything from getting in there. And then signage, making sure people are aware of the importance of FME. So besides the products that we have, here are other services that our company can provide that you guys can provide. We can provide FME training. We can provide a tool tethering training, which I can teach you guys how to do that so you can sell that to your people. We even have like the benchmarking class where we can send somebody out to review a program. These are all services that we can help provide for customers. So remember, step one for creating a program is creating that culture of awareness. We have everything from, we have like 50 different types of posters. We have t-shirts, we have little stickers, anything to create that cultural change. And then and you guys, so cabinets they're one of the best products because you want to keep your FME products clean and you want to keep it organized. And so the cabinets are always our top sellers. And so what's inside the most used items inside the cabinet. So the top used item are these covers on the bottom left. These are called CBFR covers. They are the best in the whole industry, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But the covers, we have all the different sizes, and you can prevent open systems. So you can put a little cap or cover on it. We have caps of every size imaginable. Even if they want vented caps, we got that. We have different types of inflatables. We have multiple varieties of inflatable devices, and here are even like expansion plugs. And then we have the sponges, which are very, very popular. So the most important thing that why when people create these programs, why people need to stick with the Flot brand is because, and this is very important, and only the engineers will know this, but you need to tell the workers this because the workers won't know this because they're not engineers. It's very important that whenever you put a fabric on stainless steel or on a PVC piping, that fabric has no heavy metals and no halogens in that fabric. Why that's important? Because if you put a cover, a tarp, anything on a stainless steel piece of like an engine, a very expensive engine, you do not want the tarp to leach the heavy metals and halogens onto that stainless steel because it will cause microscopic fracturing and that will reduce the lifespan of the engine. And so what's really important is our products are made free of heavy metals and halogens. So our products will not cause the damage to the engines that a lot of companies, that's why like Westinghouse, GE, they say, hey, we need companies it has to be Flot because we know. And then what we do too is we do random spot checks. We random testing to make sure none of our covers, none of our fabric, none of our inks have heavy metals or halogens. And so it's a very, very important to energy customers. And so you need to make sure you tell your customers why our products are the best. And so we did a very expensive study last year. We tested our product versus 5 of the competitors in the market that also have covers, tarps, and we're the only ones that are free of it. There's no competitor on the market that makes a product that's free of heavy metals and halogens. We're the only people. So drop prevention. And I will send you guys I will email Audrey. We normally charge for this, but I'm going to give it to you for free. A tool tethering guide that teaches you step by step how to tether your tools. I'm going to provide this free to you guys. You guys can convert it to your own language. You can do whatever you want to it. It's your guys's to use. I will email that to Audrey after this. It's about 10 pages. You guys your customers will love this. It'll be something really good that you guys can share with them. But when you're tethering tools, tape works, but tape is the worst because tape can become FME. Tape can come off, and if it comes off and it gets into an engine, that's a problem. Slightly better than tape, but not great, are like the heat shrink and the cold shrink. The problem with the heat shrink and the cold shrink is even though when it goes onto the tool, it's on there for a long, long time, the workers don't like it because it makes it hard to use the tool because you got that heat shrink or cold shrink on the tool. The best method are, these are called the double D. The metal pin with the shackle. Once you put that on a tool, it can never come off. You have to cut it off to get it off. It's got, you take a screwdriver, and when you'll hear a click, once it clicks, it can never come off. And then you can still use your tool, you can turn your tool, and it will never come off. So that's the best method. And then we have wristbands. We have like the traditional style, and then we have the new quick switch. I don't know if you guys have seen the quick switch, but it is the most revolutionary product in the market right now. Let me share with you a story real quick. Can everybody still hear me? I get worried when I talk for a long time and nobody's talking.
Yes.
Okay. So here's a very good story you guys can share with your customers. So at Wolf Creek Power Plant in Kansas, this last January, somebody almost died from a dropped object. They came very close to dying. And what had happened was two guys were 35 feet up in the air, so about meters up in the air. And they had a pipe wrench. And, pipe wrench is heavy, 15 to 18 inches, and it's got some weight to it. They had the pipe wrench on a 6-foot tether, so a 2-meter tether, and with a carabiner attached to their belt. And then one guy asked the other guy, "Can you hand me your tool?" And so even though the tool's attached to him, he undoes the carabiner and tries to hand the tool to the other guy. And when he tries to hand the tool, that's when they drop the tool. The tool fell 35 feet, and then their boss was standing on the ground. It smashed into the ground right behind their boss. If he would have leaned back a little, now he was wearing a hard hat, but that hard hat would not have saved him. He would have died. So after that accident happened, they said, how could we have prevented that from happening? And so the only solution they had was, what if we put 2 tethers on every tool, where now my tool has 2 tethers, where I can undo 1 tether and I can attach to the other guy. So now it's attached to both of us, and then I can undo that tether. But nobody wants to put 2 tethers on 1 tool. Nobody wants to do that. So the quick switch, Audrey and I could share a tool by touching our wrists together, and you can share a tool. Or if you don't want to wear the wrist cuff, we can have like a retractable on your belt or a bungee on your belt that has a key on the end of it. And the key, you touch the key to the tool and it transfers the tool. And so you can't put the tool down. You either have to hand the tool to somebody else, or you have to put it back in a bucket or an apron or somewhere. So it creates tool accountability, and it prevents people from accidentally leaving a tool somewhere. So the quick switch is the best product for energy companies in the United States. Are going crazy for the quick switch. It will be you will love selling the quick switch items because it is it's so easy to sell. And then we have like lots of different holsters. We even have self-closing bags, like this bag right here at the bottom automatically closes. So when you reach your hand into it and pull it out, it closes automatically. So you can't, if you turn it upside down, nothing can fall out. And so that you can prevent drops from happening. So basically, these are, recommended steps: creating that committee, create a cultural change, create FME products, a drop prevention program. And then, you don't have to, this doesn't have to happen overnight. As long as you let your customers know that this is a program, maybe if they make baby steps, like little tiny steps towards going towards this direction, that's good. They don't have to make the change overnight. It can be a gradual change, but this is where we need to work to push these energy companies towards an FME program, and little by little push them and push them. That way we can get them to create these programs. We got lots and lots of products. So I'll go through the catalog real quick with you guys. So that's my family. But let me show you. Can you guys see the catalog? Can you see the catalog?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. And then this is on the TiFloat website. So anybody can go to TiFloat.com. You guys can use this catalog. There's no pricing on here. because we only sell through distribution. But real quick, everything from, this has all the different products, everything from rail rigs, where if you're pulling stuff up and you have different lengths rope, if you let go of that rope, nothing moves. It can't fall down. It can only come up. It can't go down. We have different styles of tethering your, little tool collars. We have metal ones, or you can get it in plastic if they're worried about metal getting into a system. You have different grip fits. Now, when you get a cabinet, a lot of this stuff will be in a cabinet already, and the cabinets already come with a lot of the with all the part numbers right on there. So when they run low on these items, they can reorder. It's really easy to reorder the products. And so cold shrink, you just put your tool inside the cold shrink, you pull out the plastic, and it shrinks down onto the tool. Different loops, tape, which tape works, but it's not the best. And then you would use the tape, and you would use one of these D-rings, and then you would tape the D-ring to the tool. Here is the best method, these double Ds. This is the best tool on the market for tethering your tool, the double D. And then we have shackles, little pins, sleeves for your tape measures. This is important. In New York City, last year, a UPS driver was killed because a tape measurer fell out of a construction worker's pocket and took an unlucky bounce, and it killed the UPS driver. If they would have had that tape sleeve on his tape measure, they would not. The guy, the man they killed, the UPS driver, had 5 daughters, and it was a tragic accident that could have been prevented with a very inexpensive tape measure sleeve. Even little adhesives, so people use their cell phones. A little adhesive little sticker on the back of their cell phone where you can prevent it from falling, an attachment point. We even have tools. And now this is interesting. These shot-free dead blow hammers. So normally dead blow hammers have lots of little tiny metal shot in them, where over time they can fall apart. And a lot of energy companies love using these, but they might not. So inside our dead blow hammers are metal washers. So they're big, giant washers, so you can still get the same action of a dead blow, but with all those little metal shots, so you can eliminate that FME hazard. Here's the quick switch that I was talking about. It is the most exciting product. We have the quick switch, the wrist cuffs. We have different pouches that use the quick switch. There are some videos online, and I'll send Audrey some videos that you can send to your customers of the quick switch, which are awesome. So I'll email Audrey the tool tethering guide, and I'll email Audrey the videos of the quick switch. Here's aprons. These guys that work at energy plants will love the apron. And, hard hat tethers, little lanyards where you can put pouches, pins, the PPE caddies, lots of different styles of bungee tethers. These are all for different weight ratings and different size tools. Swivel connectors. This is all for the drop prevention. Let's see. More stuff for pins. Little badge clips, because I know a lot of power plants will use a lot of badging. So all these badge clips are probably good products you guys will be able to pitch. Tape, universal tape sensors, so tape doesn't run off and get lost. And then these vests are really cool. These vests have lots of pockets and stuff where you can attach these MOLLE vests, which you have different stuff. So if they didn't want to wear a wrist cuff or wear stuff, they could wear a vest where you could have retractables on your vest that have lots of pouches, and you can combine. These are a lot of energy companies love these vests. And then here's all the stuff you can attach to the vest. All these MOLLE vest pocket stuff where they attach, right? You can put stuff on your shoulder. You can put stuff on your chest, your stomach, all kinds of sleeves and different compartments, and like pouches. All these little pouches have little retractables. You know, bottle caps. Here's that self-closing bag. This self-closing bag, people love this. This is a really cool bag. And then you have like different kinds of zipper closure bags, magnetic trays, tool inspection kits, tool tethering stations. Let's see, and then some of the FME products, you know, like the cabinets. We have a bunch of different sizes of cabinets. And if you guys need all the contents of the cabinets, I can get you that. But like, you know, different caps, covers, plugs, the CBFR covers I talked about, which these are our top selling product because, you know, they're water repellent, they're fire retardant, and they have no heavy metals or halogens, so they won't cause any damage to stainless steel. And then you can get it vented.
Hold on, Chris. Hold on, Chris.
Yes.
Hold on, Chris. How do you use this vented this one FME covers? Because last time I saw this in during a turbine overhaul. Siemens Energy is using this.
Yes.
The turbine cover, and I saw this stuff on during the job that they're doing on the turbine. You know.
So it's really simple. It's got a drawstring with a little slider on the drawstring. So you just want to get a bigger size than the, so for example, if you're working on a flange, if you're working on a 8-inch flange, you need a 15-inch cover. And so this guide right here can help you figure out what size you need if you're working on flanges or you're working on pipe.
Oh, no. How about this vented nylon FME cover? This one.
So the vented has a little door, so it allows airflow, but it can will also prevent stuff from getting in.
But I guess if you buy this product, it is accompanied by an instruction manual on how to use this product. Is that so?
I mean, it's the instructions are it's you put it over the pipe or the flange that you're going to be doing you want to cover, and then you just pull it tight to make sure stuff can't get into that open system. And so it's important is when they're doing maintenance, whenever they open up the system, everything that needs to be covered. So when they open up the engine, everything needs to have a cover on it unless they're doing work on it. And then we have some high temperature ones if they need to use it in hot environments. We have every size imaginable of little caps. And what's nice about these little plugs is there's a place where you can put a flag on it. And why you want to put a flag on it is say you're working on a big steam engine, and there's a lot of little plugs. We need to put these little plugs in, and some of them might be deep into a system. And so we might not see it when we close it back up. So we might want to put a flag on that so we know that, hey, there's still a plug on that. We need to take that plug off before we close it back up. We have all kinds of every size imaginable of covers, caps, metric sizes, swage, caps and plugs, the flange protectors, and both the 150-pound and 300-pound. And then the sponges. These sponges are a really hot selling item because we can get them every size imaginable, and we can even do custom sizes, and we can do custom sizes overnight. And so if they needed like shaped like a pizza, you know, a slice of pizza, all you need to do is email us the dimensions you need, and we can get it done in 24 hours, a custom sponge. And so people that are working on these big, like the Siemens engines, they often need to have the inlet, or even the aviation companies. Something that people do too is sometimes they'll buy the squares and then they will cut the squares. If you're going to cut the square, they need to use a hot knife. It's got to be very hot when they cut that square, cut that sponge.
Yeah. Chris, do you have a video of this? How to use this one?
No, we don't have videos. We have the official officially, we're not supposed to encourage companies to cut the sponges, but every one of our customers cuts the sponges with a hot knife. So that's what a lot of the American companies are doing is they'll get like a big one and they might use a very hot knife and cut that sponge. But officially, we want you to buy custom ones. That's the official answer. The unofficial answer is you can cut it with a hot knife.
How about this one,
And then
the lower side? This one, below the, this one. How do you call this
Yeah.
one? These ones?
they'll come with little plugs so you can pull it out. So the two different types of sponges, you can get a sponge with a laminated top or a sponge without a laminated top. The difference is the laminated top, say I'm doing cutting or grinding on a pipe, I can put that sponge into the pipe, and because it's got that laminated top, when I pull it out, it like scrapes and cleans as you're pulling it out better than a sponge that does not have the laminated top. So the laminated ones are a little bit more expensive, but they work a little bit better. And then we have different sizes of inflatable bags. We have, these are the inexpensive ones. We also have a more expensive one that will last for 5-10 years. It's like a heavy duty rubber. We have all sizes of expansion plugs. Here's the heavy duty ones, which these ones right here, the natural gas facilities will really like these flow stoppers. We also have drain plugs of every size imaginable. Different caps, different springs. So like if you are working in an area where you want to put a flag or, hey, this is an FME area, you can put these on piping or any cylinder where you can hang stuff. We have floor protection. We have like diamond plating floor guards, which can protect the floors, as well as magnetic coverings. Like these magnetic sheeting, they can cut this to sizes. And since it's magnetic, if they're opening up a door, they can put this magnet over top of it where it prevents stuff from getting in and out when they're doing work. And like the flange protectors, our tarps, we have different size tarps. And again, the tarps have no heavy metals or halogens, which is really important. And then we can also, for customers, we can make any custom size imaginable. Because I know that like the GE customers are always asking for custom sizes of covers. And then you have stickers where, signage, where you can create boundaries where, hey, this is a work zone. I need to create boundaries. We have the stanchions, which you can move around to create these work areas. We can make handrail barriers. So we can custom make these barriers any size, any length, and we can make them very, very fast. We have, I think we have 50 ladies who are seamstress ladies that they can make them overnight. And then we have like the very sticky tacky mats. Different ways to label, but handrail clips, these float so they can't ever get lost. And these are all floating zip ties. Because, a lot of these customers, like the steam customers, they don't want, if something falls into the water, they don't want it easy to retrieve because it's floating on top. They can just skim it off the top. Floating pins, floating face shields, floating rags, so the rags will float. And then here are some alternatives. So for example, you can get instead of a wire brush, this is a polymer and a ceramic where it's safe to, if they accidentally ate it, it wouldn't hurt their system, but it's not metallic, so it can't cause an outage. It can't cause sparking, which that's a big problem at energy companies is, those wire bristles and the wire brushes, every little one of those wire brushes, if it goes, it can create an electric arc, which can cause an outage or cause a death. This is a non-metallic versions of everything. So it's a lot safer for the energy customers to use. Floating binoculars, different LED lights. And then we have a whole line of tinted plastics. So you can keep track of, tinted sleeving, tinted bags of all different sizes, tinted PVC tube, tinted shrink wrap, everything, because we want to get away from clear plastics. And then here's some retrieval devices. We have all kinds of different retrieval heads, different links and meters of different forks. We have different video boroscopes where you can snake it down and it can turn and go down a system and look for typing and tubing. Shatterproof mirrors, inspection mirrors, magnetic tool picker ups, very long tweezers. But yeah, that's kind of an overview of all the products, guys. But hey, also, Audrey, we, since my parent company is the Pure Safety Group, the Pure Safety Group also manufactures harnesses, rescue equipment. We have, the catalogs are too big to share. You'll have to go on the Pure Safety Group website and download those. They're giant catalogs. But we're one of the biggest manufacturers in the United States. I think 3M is the only one bigger than us. But that's it, guys. That's everything I have.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Sir Philip, do you have any